The conclusion of which tonight is that Manchester United have beaten Stoke by 3-0, and Paul Lambert takes over a team in the drop zone. 12 points the gap now between United and City. It's not impossible, it's been done before. As Martin Tyler's right, the British press reporting tonight that Chelsea have entered the race for Alexis Sanchez, and Arsenal, Andy, increasingly confident that Aubameyang
I think that's as much of a surprise as anything we've heard so far.
Be on his way to North London. Anyway, reaction on what we've seen here comes next. Australian Open, Day 2, 0300 Mecca overnight, live on beIN Sports 8, 9 and 12 if you're looking for an English language service. If the truth be told, it wasn't much more than a run out for Manchester United, was it?
Second half, no. It was job done first half, 2-0. It almost felt like they knew that was enough. It's a very typical Mourinho performance, I think. And that where if we were watching Manchester City or Liverpool, they would have been going for 3, 4, 5, 6 if they could get them. I think United are happy to 2. They got the third. Didn't bother them if they got any more. Job done. With economy. With economy.
So, let's have a look back at the 3 goals United did get.
Well, in fairness, the first 2 are terrific finishes. They work the ball really well, very patient. Maybe against what people think Manchester United are all about, but they've got the place to do this. They're a quality football side, Graham, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Very comfortable here. Very comfortable win in the whole. But the goal was decent. You talked about Andy. The first 2 goals in the first half were excellent finishes, but this is too easy for Manchester United. Stoke struggling to get anywhere near them. Just picking them off with passes. It's just a wonderful finish.
That is a great
wonderful finish.
I mean, he's scored 2 goals this season. Both have been absolute screamers. One against Everton, and what is it about sides who are wearing blue that come along to that ground for him?
It'll be interesting to see how many passes there. We talked about Tottenham before with the Everton goal.
Oh, there was a lot of passes in that. Yeah, absolutely. Just beautifully controlled. Beautifully controlled. And we saw them score 2 unbelievable goals against Everton. Lingard and Martial. Wondered if Martial could do it again. I think this one is. I think it's better than the one at Goodison.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time to think about it.
That's a terrible touch, isn't it? That's an
Awful
invitation.
touch. Awful touch. Now, Lukaku fell out with Bruno Martins Indy in the second half, and he was pointing about a tackle. He was saying, he kicked me in the first half. So what? You're a big, massive centre forward who shouldn't be troubled with anyone kicking
you know, Andy, he goes after him. Watch him. He goes after him and then has something to say to him, so he's been carrying that.
Yeah, he has, and that's why he had a go at him in the second half when it was a nothing tackle.
Yeah,
watch. Look.
Yeah. When we talk about the strike, there, which is brilliant. We've got to give credit to Pogba for being aware of that little ball inside.
Just as a look, doesn't it? The beauty of the ball is it doesn't need controlling, does it?
No.
You know, sometimes the ball comes to you. Like Lukaku's third goal, Lukaku had to deal with it, whereas Martial didn't.
And as Martial strikes that, he's away celebrating. He knew.
Yeah, you do know. It was a bit like, it reminded me of Graham Sharp when he hit that one at Anfield and that won us a game. He knew it was
no, that was cultured. Mine was just a smash.
No, I forgot. But this is the one there was much debate. There's only Joe Allen who faces it.
Handball.
There he goes. Joe Allen's the only one who looks for handball because he's the one who's facing it. No one else really made an awful lot about it.
So clear and obvious error, that would then be referred to VAR.
This one?
Yes.
Would it?
Clear and obvious error. It's handball, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if it's clear or obvious.
Good finish at the end of it. Good finish at the end of it. But I think there was a debate about. I think he's got a fair shout, Joe Allen. And nice to see Lukaku actually celebrate his goal.
He needed that.
Look, he turns straight round to Roger East and says, handball, Joe Allen. There, handball. Kills it.
Yeah. Certainly has a little bit of help with that left arm. That's what, look, I can't believe his defending. Puts his legs together. He's not even trying to block it.
But how many goals do you see
go through people's legs?
But even that so close. he's got to go try and block it there, surely. He can't just put his feet together.
You can't do that. So a comfortable victory, Richard. They'll be happy with that. 3-0. Get some 3 points ahead of Liverpool and Chelsea. Get some 3 points closer to Manchester City. It's a decent weekend for them.
Paul Pogba, how would you say his season has unfolded?
Well, you've heard me. What do you think, Graham? Tell us what you think of Pogba this season.
I thought when early on he struggled, then he seemed to have a little patch where you're thinking, yeah, he's getting control of games, but as I mentioned before, you need to see it in the big games, the really big games where he takes a hold of the midfield and dictates things. Tonight, I think it was a stroll in the park for him. Nobody could get in. He'd done what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think the big test for him is when he plays the Man Cities, the Liverpools of this world, where he has to make that impression right away.
You pay 98 million, 95 million for him not to do what he did tonight, because we expect that. You know, that's the kind of footballer. He should be doing that. We should take that for granted. What you pay 95 million for, 100 million for, is in the big games, is to go and take it and be like he was tonight, but do it at Stamford Bridge, do it at the Etihad, do it at the Emirates, do it at Anfield. Do it at Old Trafford when the big boys come to visit. He's not done that, I don't think. I can't remember too many big games where Paul has taken it by the scruff of the neck and excelled. But I don't think the way they've played, or they've been asked to play by the coach, has helped him an awful lot in the big games. They've been so negative in the big games they've played this season. I don't think it helps Pogba.
What happened to Stoke? What has happened to Stoke, Graham? Not just tonight, over the last 18 months.
Listen, I honestly thought that Mark Hughes had done a good job. He'd got a couple of top 10 finishes and going well, obviously. I just look at that Stoke side tonight and I think that's poor. They've dropped their standards. You know, when you used to go against Stoke, you knew you were in for a physical encounter. It was only about a battle. That wasn't a battle. That was too easy for Manchester United. So
what would you say?
I think Mark's come in and sorry, Rich, I think Mark's come in and tried to bring in a better quality of player and more flair players. You know, we looked at Arnautovic and obviously a little boy tonight. Shaqiri. And I'm looking at Shaqiri there and I'm looking at, does he want to be there? He looks overweight.
What's your verdict on the recruitment across that 18 months?
Well, listen, we know how hard it is, you know, for teams in and around that area to attract really top players. And I think Mark has struggled. Listen, he's brought players in who he obviously thinks can do a job. But sometimes it doesn't work for them. I saw a Stoke side which was unrecognisable to the Stoke side I saw about 18 months ago when they were strong and physical and powerful and you knew you were in a game. That wasn't. They rolled over there tonight and that's not something you really associate with a Stoke team.
I think they've lost their way a bit, definitely. I mean, Mark starts with a back four this season, went to a back three because his team was struggling, went back eventually to a back four again. So that suggests that he wasn't quite sure what his best system was. With regards to recruitment, Richard, they went in and they paid not big fees, but massive salaries on Afellay, Hosselu, who didn't work for them. There was another one, Bojan. You know, all these players who came from Spain and big clubs. Shaqiri, massive wages. Choupo-Moting, massive wages. You know, Darren Fletcher, he thought would elevate the club as well. Kurt Zuma on loan from Chelsea. Some big players. To me, I see a lot of players in that team, and I hope I'm wrong, and I don't enjoy saying it, that seem happy to play for themselves and get on with their own work. But it's not, I don't see a collective.
Well, the
and I
players
think that's
that
what
you
Paul's got to
mentioned,
create.
if they were top class, they wouldn't be joining Stoke, would they?
No, probably not. But the beauty, I was going to say the beauty of the Premier League is that every club now can afford to pay the wages. If the transfer fee is not out of this world, right? Stoke can go and go and pay 100 and odd thousand for
players. But you've got to be careful who you're paying that to.
Yes, you have. And this is what I'm saying to you. Bojan came and went. I think he's gone. That shows you how much of an impact he made there. Afellay, I think he's still there. Probably on 100 grand plus a week. Who else was I say? Shaqiri, in and out. You know, you wouldn't bet anything on him turning up any day of the week for you. Well, you wouldn't.
No,
sorry.
you wouldn't. Arnautovic was one of those as well, wasn't he?
But they got 27
million
million
back. So who was
back
buying those players, I wonder? Because I can't believe Mark was. I don't think... Darren Fletcher, yes, I think that's a Mark Hughes signing. But I don't see those others as Sparky's kind of player.
I do. I think Stoke haven't got like a director of football, so I think Mark and the manager will make the decisions with the coaching staff. Obviously, we'll get players in front of them. They will then decide if they want them. I don't think it's like an Everton now where it's Steve Walsh, the director of football, who says, yeah, let's go and sign him, we'll sign him. I think Mark has a say.
Do you know what I think he did, Richard? Because remember when Tony Pulis left? There was all that, Pulis, he can only play football one way. We're fed up with that at Stoke. We want to elevate them to where? Tony had taken them to a cup final, into Europe, and what, 10th in the league?
Yes.
In one of his last seasons.
I think a number of 9th place finishes, yeah.
Right, okay, so where do Stoke fans imagine they're going from there? 8th? They're not going to go 8th, 9th. Maybe 7th. They're not going to 8th, 7th. Maybe get 9th if they're lucky. So where were they wanting to go? We want better football. We want better players. I think Sparky went in there realising that. So henceforth, he gets these players from these big clubs, the Barcelona rejects, if you like, that you're going to have to pay huge wages for, not big fee, but huge wages for, which he did. The ones I've mentioned, too many of them, that haven't come in and stood the test of time. In fairness to Shaqiri, he's been there, he stayed, he's played, and when he's picked, he tries. A game like tonight is pretty much a passenger. Wouldn't pick him in a night like tonight. I think there's other ways you can go about it. But I think he wanted to bring the better players in, hoping that he could soften the side, make them play better football. And in fairness, Mark, he had 3 decent seasons.
I think he did do. I think people would say that it was a different Stoke, at least to try and play foot. As Andy said, a little bit more star quality, if you like. And it was good, but then the results weren't there at the end, and then he lost his job, kind of thing. But I looked at that team tonight, and that was never like a Stoke side. Never like a Stoke side.
I mean, the first half they were neat and tidy when they got the ball. They threatened Manchester United 2 or 3 times. Might have nicked themselves a goal. Second half, it was like a practice match for United. It really was like a practice match. It was as if to say, right, we'll just keep the ball. Stoke thought, we're not going to get beat 6-0. So let's go.
I think as well, just looking at it, and Peter Crouch, no disrespect, has been brilliant, you know, but he's first choice
36.
there at 36 years of age. So you can maybe look at the recruitment in terms of strikers or centre forwards, but you know, that just shows the position they're in at the moment. That shows you probably why they've had to make the change and they brought Paul Lambert in.
Is that Fellaini putting his work into that rather than it is?
That used to drive me mad.
Did it?
When I was sub, before they could do that, I was in the bath. When I was sub, only once or twice.
I can't remember being sub myself, no.
When they came to get me to do that, I was in the bath. I was in the bath. I said, I can't go out. I said, I'm sorry, I can't go out in the cold,
You don't mind the shuttles from 18-yard line. The ones you hate are from penalty box to penalty box. They're the ones after the game. Oof. I didn't mind the wee 18 yards. Well, the once I was sub at Everton. I don't remember.
What actually is he gaining?
A day off tomorrow.
It's a day off tomorrow. Just a blow, isn't it? Just to get the heart rate up. You know, a little blow. He did nothing in the game. He never got his heart rate probably high enough. So they're probably just running him a couple of little shuttles like that, 20-yard shuttles.
So were you in the following day then?
No, we were off. We were off.
Oh, Billy, big time.
Listen,
I'm in the bath. I'm not going out tonight. By the way, I'm not in tomorrow.
I didn't want to go out in case I caught myself the flu or the cold after being in the bath.
And he pulled a muscle because he sat on the bench all night.
But now you're also being silly. He was never quick enough to do that. Weekend by numbers in the Premier League.
I don't think... Are we above 30? Oh, just...
Above 30, yeah.
Yeah, just with those 3 goals tonight. That's amazing, that. 30 goals. 31 goals, 29 from open play.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
2, just the 2 from set pieces. The 2 that West Brom scored.
West Brom?
Yeah.
No one else scored from a set piece. Wow. That's unusual. That's very unusual.
Is that unusual, this one?
No penalties at all?
Yeah, I think we'd expect to see at least one. At least one. I wonder how VAR will affect that as well.
What, penalty goals?
Yeah. The award of. How many more we'll see that we're not at the moment?
As soon as somebody who's bringing this in actually tells us what VAR is going to do regarding penalties, is it going to be a matter of fact? Was it a handball?
It's going to be a clear and obvious error.
No, but you see, I keep arguing with everybody. I know we're off in a minute, I know, but I keep arguing with everybody, Richard. A clear and obvious error is what? If I tackle Sharpie right now and there was a ball there and I didn't think it was a foul, but you did, Who do we go with?
For the purposes of the conversation, I'm going to be very difficult to take the other side of the argument tonight, because normally I agree with him. But,
no, you don't.
Do you?
But of course, on this I do. On this I do.
You don't know.
A clear and obvious error. We've seen one tonight as Lukaku controlled the ball with his. That's a clear and obvious error.
I don't mind that one.
Which has to be referred to.
But it's a matter of fact.
But well, is it or not? Because at the moment, I don't sense that you're agreeing that it was handball. I think you feel that there is.
No, what I'm saying is
some debate about it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, if the VAR looked at this, right, and the guy who was sitting there said to the referee, "You need to go and look at this again."
Well, is that a fact that that's handball, or
yes.
is that? Is it?
Well, if it's not a fact, it shouldn't be referred.
But you know it will be.
Well, but
then
that's
what?
I'm saying. But whose decision will we take?
Graham, handball or not?
I think it is.
You think it is?
I think it is. I'm not 100% sure.
Would you give a free kick?
No, I would give the benefit of the doubt to the striker.
Would you?
See, there you go.
For you, handball?
Well, I think there's enough doubt. This is what I'm saying. I was listening today and it confused me even more.
So it would get referred on the basis that the referee's made a clear and obvious error.
In your opinion?
Well, no.
Don't you two disagree?
Not in mine. Graham, I fear for the introduction of VAR.
Yes, I agree.
I think we're going into an awful place.
If we were both of us, if you two were the VAR at that different game, you would say, I'm referring that, and Chappie would say, I'm not.
Or I could refer it very simply to Graham, who's in the truck, and he's turned down the appeal of Stoke.
I look forward. You see, the laws of football, the majority of the big laws in the game are easy to understand. Simple. We all get them. There's a few tiny laws that we probably don't quite know as well as we should. I have not got a clue what VAR is now. I thought I knew. A clear and obvious error on a matter of fact. Not a clear obvious error on a difference of opinion.
Well, that's inevitably where we'll go. And then subsequently to which phase of play.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
That's the other danger.
Yeah.
How far back
like
you go.
rugby, took it back about a minute and a half.
Yes. Here's Jose Mourinho with beIN Sports Matt Critchley. Games on air 22:30 Mecca with us here on 11 for our English language service, 2 if you prefer Arabic. Graham Sharp will be along for both. Thanks for your company tonight. We'll see you next time.